Welcome back, folks. Episode number 7 of the Get a Grip on Life podcast. On today's show, we have Khaled, like salad, Khaled Iwamura. He's the founder of InSauga.com. This is like a new type of news media that's out there. It's focused on a specific region, and it's online. It's awesome. InSauga is an awesome place to find out about Mississauga. So Khaled Iwamura started this up, and now it's growing big and huge, and he's a huge influencer. He's got more visits to his website than the Toronto Star, son. That's right. So Khaled Iwamura is really a disruptor of traditional news media. This is where things are going. We had a great chat, man. I went through all sorts of different topics. He's just an interesting guy, period. So, yeah, check out. He also has In Brampton and In Halton, his newest addition to the InSauga thing. He's a TEDx speaker. And he's also just a badass. He's a pro, not a semi-pro wrestler, I guess. This guy's got it going on, man. So check out his stuff. Go to InSauga.com, and we'll put all the links to his stuff on our website, getagriponlife.com. This episode of the show is brought to you by Get a Grip Studios. What the heck is that? Well, that's a place where you can create content for yourself, man. Come on, or woman, or whatever. You can create content. You can make your own show. You can get your message out there easily. All you have to focus on is your message with Get a Grip Studios. You don't have to worry about anything else. We take care of everything else. The RSS feeds, the social media stuff, all that kind of stuff goes out magically behind the background, and you sit down and record your show. That's enough work. Trust me, I know, because I started a podcast from scratch and got it monetized and everything. And it took me 2.5 years, and it should only take 1 month, 2 months. Maybe 3 months to put out 50 episodes. It took me 2.5 years. So come on down to Get a Grip Studios, getagripstudios.com, fully virtual, in studio, remote, whatever you need. Getagripstudios.com has it. But for right now, check out Khaled Iwamura, wrestler, entrepreneur, media disruptor, on episode 7 of the Get a Grip on Life podcast. Welcome to the show, Khaled Iwamura.
How you doing, sir?
Good. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Well, it's like Khaled like salad or DJ Khaled.
DJ Khaled.
Yeah.
You. That's you. It looks like you're like half Japanese, half Middle Eastern. Am I got that right?
Yeah, half Japanese, half Egyptian.
Egyptian.
100% Canadian.
100% Canadian.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Born in Montreal.
Okay.
Came to Mississauga when I was 9.
Okay.
About 100 years ago. And when
feels like it, I bet.
Yeah, when Square One was actually a square still.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
So, quick bite news. I think your site's super cool, dude.
Cool, thanks, man.
How did you decide that was the scene you wanted to run through? How did you decide that there was an angle there?
It was weird. About 15 years ago, I just told myself I wanted to do something for Mississauga.
Okay.
And it was just one of those things. I'm going to do something big for Mississauga. I had no idea what I was going to do. But, I was, did the whole marketing thing, had a marketing company, was partner in a marketing firm. And then all of a sudden, in 2011, found, just went online to Google and searched in something to do in Mississauga. And 6th biggest city in Canada, couldn't find one website for the 6th biggest city in Canada on what to do, right? So I'm like, then that's when the light bulb went off. And just pretty much grabbed a programmer, which he's my partner now. Couldn't have done it without him. His name is Jun. And in 2011, we just, I believe we went to Moxie's at Square One. And,
okay. I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, okay. So, and this is the stereotypical kind of starting your business. We grabbed a napkin for real and started writing down ideas on what to put on this website.
Do you still have the napkin?
I did a documentary about some kids at Sheridan did a documentary on me about a year ago, and I couldn't find the napkin. They asked for it, and I don't know where it is. It
should be framed on the wall.
I know. I'll find it one day in my son's toy box or something like that.
Sure.
But yeah, so and then 2011 was kind of built on like focus groups, talking to people, figuring out what they wanted to see. And January 2012, we launched InSauga.com to 200 page views.
Okay.
In one day.
Wow.
We thought that was awesome.
For sure.
Yeah. So, but and the rest is kind of, well, I guess the rest is history. But we launched January 1, 2012.
So what's the whole fishing rod story? I watched your TEDx video. Tell me tell me the in-person fishing rod story.
Okay. So you remember the house explosion in Mississauga happened about a year and a half ago. A couple pretty much exploded their house in Mississauga.
Did they do it on purpose? I do remember.
They did on purpose,
Okay.
right? And it pretty much took out the entire block,
Mhm.
right? So it was big news. It was, I hate to say it, but it was on CNN, right? So it's like
Sure.
Mississauga's known for houses blowing up, explosions and stuff like that, which is not a good thing. But
No.
so anyways, there was a media day
Okay.
a couple of months later, just because it wasn't safe to go there.
Mhm.
Like literally about 3 houses were completely destroyed.
Yeah, the fire
gone.
department's still making sure everything's safe. and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So and then they had a media day, right? So they had the CBCs, the CP24s, and all the A-list anchors were there, like Michelle Dubé, and all
Sure.
the ones that I'm looking going, wow, this is pretty cool. I'm with them.
Yeah.
And
Did you have media credentials?
Yes, I did. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So this is, that was about 4 years after we launched. So
Okay.
we were fairly known in Mississauga.
All right.
And all I had was my backpack, which had my laptop, and I had a 7-foot selfie stick, okay, with an attachment at the end to put on my phone. So
Okay.
it actually looked like I had a fishing rod with actual mobile phone at the end of it. And there's about $30-40 million worth of trucks there. We're talking like, all the satellite trucks and stuff
Sure.
like that. And all the boys know each other. All the guys, they all know each other. I have no idea who they are.
They're a community.
They're a
But-
community.
yeah, sure.
And then I hear one of them say, who's that guy with the fishing rod? And looking at me, right?
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, I'm that guy. I'm the guy with the fishing rod, right?
Yep.
So so we went in. They let all the media in. One thing they didn't know was that the explosion site was actually fenced off. So all these guys with these heavy camera couldn't lift it up, but the guy with the fishing rod, which was me, had the first views of it, and we put it on Facebook Live. So we beat out.
So you were streaming it.
We're streaming it. So
Wow.
we had it out before the 6 p.m. news, and they had about $30-40 million worth of equipment there.
Sure.
Right. So that's my fishing rod story, right? Because we literally beat the 6 p.m. news with the fishing rod.
I feel like there's right now in the world, there's a Gutenberg revolution times 100 going on right now.
Yes, there is.
Because you have a guy, like for example, a guy with a fishing rod and a iPhone or an Android phone
Yeah.
is producing news quicker and faster and at the quality, maybe not the same quality, but I mean, quality is kind of relative to speed of news too, right?
Yep.
So producing what people want to see faster than capital investments of millions of dollars. You see in different industries, especially in communications industries, you see like it's over for newspapers. I mean,
Yeah.
You're talking about, why do you want to even cut down trees?
Yeah. Well, that industry has to change for sure.
Okay.
Right. And I think they've had a lot of, how do I say it? They're run by older generation,
Mm-hmm.
right? That don't want to change. They keep on saying, hey, let's just keep on, let's put it behind a paywall and see if it works for the 5th time,
Sure.
and obviously it doesn't, right?
For some it will. Like for The Economist it works.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
for the Wall Street Journal it will work. But for the, Uxbridge Times Journal, it's not going to work.
Yeah. So, and I think the Toronto Star and the Globe are going behind paywalls after they realize that it hasn't worked before,
Mhm.
right? So, yeah. So it's going to be interesting what goes on the next 2 to 5 years.
What do you see?
To be honest, I don't know. I mean, these guys have allowed, these big guys have allowed me and what I do to exist. It's like if they wanted to, they could have crushed me
Sure.
right at the beginning, right? They could have had a product where I couldn't even enter the marketplace,
Mm-hmm.
but these guys have allowed me to come in, right? And now I'm here. There's the blog TOs, the Hives, all these guys are here
Mm-hmm.
because these big guys have allowed them to be here.
Yeah, they've kind of seeded the ground. In the lighting business, it's interesting because when the LED revolution started, all the incumbents in the business were very toe in the water. Okay, it's like, oh my goodness, I'm not, I can't stake my reputation on this. I can't, I have this whole business built on selling replacement light bulbs, to people. And
Yeah.
what am I going to do about that? And there was a void opened up, and a bunch of new companies rushed in to fill that void. And the business is probably the same size, except the incumbents are all smaller.
Yeah.
And new arrivals have replaced, and fast movers replaced them. And they allowed that to happen in the same way you're talking about the incumbent news channels allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
Do you like being a disruptor?
Love it. Love it.
Okay.
I mean, we, love it. Just because it's, you can keep on doing things differently, all the time. And I know I've pissed off the Metrolands and, those guys.
So what?
Well, I don't care. I
Yeah.
mean, but the thing is, they've tried to do a cease and desist on me.
How can they? How would they do? How would they be possibly successful with that? Other
So
than an intimidation tactic.
It was completely an intimidation tactic. I mean, they pretty much sent us a letter. We launched in Halton, so we have InSauga in Halton, in Brampton. In Halton, they have inside Halton,
Okay.
right? So I got in Halton, right?
Okay.
There's no rule against that.
No.
Right. So they sent us a letter from their whatever department they have, and
Sure.
from Tourstar, and they pretty much said, "Hey, we own the color green. You can't put circles in. You're taking away business from us. Please destroy everything."
Mm-hmm.
And so at first you're like, okay, we got a legal letter from Tourstar.
Sure.
Little bit scared. They're
Sure.
a big company, right? And so thank goodness my law firm that I deal with has they're amazing. So I sent them a letter, and the guy calls me up. One of the lawyers calls me up and goes, "Can I be blunt with you?" And I don't like when that conversation starts that way,
Sure.
because it can go either way,
Yeah.
right? You're like, "Shit, am I done?"
Yeah, yeah.
So he goes, "Well, you could pretty much go after them if you wanted to, because it's actually illegal what they're doing, right? Because they don't have every single point that they've brought up." There was no legal merit to it.
There's no damages that they need to mitigate.
Exactly.
It was completely frivolous.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we pretty much sent a letter back. And the cool thing is that I did an article. If you search on it, it's pretty much big guys trying to bully out, the little guys.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on all our sites. Obviously sent it to my lawyer first to make sure everything was
Sure.
okay,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
And
If you're gonna poke the bear, you want to know.
yeah, I mean, anyways, 200,000 reads later, right? Everybody knows I'm bigger than the Toronto Star now.
Yeah, I noticed that you have 1.1 million visitors a month.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand how monster that is for a local.
Oh, it's
That's a massive audience for us, like a medium-sized Canadian town, or whatever you want to call Mississauga, a big
Yeah.
Canadian town.
it's huge.
That's
massive.
That's a massive.
Yeah, the sixth biggest city in Canada, right?
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
But what is it? 400,000 people?
No, it's about 800,000.
800,000 people.
Yeah.
So it's bigger than Iceland.
It's if you're talking city proper, it's bigger than Vancouver. It's bigger than Seattle. It's bigger than Detroit.
How many people does Vancouver have?
Like about 650. You're talking city
really?
proper. We're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
talking like what the
Sure.
GTA does
Yeah,
and say,
yeah.
hey, we
Yeah.
own Mississauga.
Well, you can go anywhere from Toronto to 3.8 to 9 million, depending on what you define as
Yeah.
Toronto, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at borders, I mean, Mississauga is about just shy of 800,000,
Wow.
which makes it the sixth biggest city. So
That's a lot of visitors, sixth biggest or not. That's a lot of visitors to your site.
yeah,
And 3.1 million page views. Now, are they all coming from Mississauga? Are they generally very local?
No, it's all over the place. I mean, we have it. People coming from Brampton. A lot of people. And the thing is, a lot of people from Mississauga work in Toronto. So a lot of people see us from Toronto when they're working. So Toronto, Mississauga. We're talking Brampton's next, and then kind of like the Halton region, Oakville, Burlington, Milton, and some from Hamilton. So, but it's all over the place. But I mean, it's not coming from like Japan. Well,
Yeah.
some are actually now, but I mean,
It's very local based. So is it all, your revenue, is it all from advertisers?
yeah, it's strictly from advertisers. So
Okay.
I mean, it's everything. We do the contests, sponsored posts, banner ads, the typical ways to kind of make money on websites.
Quick Bite News Network is made up of 3 breaking news. I'm going to read it here. Food, lifestyle, real estate. So it should be 4. Food, lifestyle, real estate, and entertainment websites. So what's the biggest portion of the news? Is it breaking news? Is it?
Well, it's weird because when we first started it's completely different than what we what it is now. when we first started, it was more of a social, fun, top 5 history events, things
I
to
love
do.
the history page, by the way. I thought that's so awesome.
Yeah, and the thing is, people love I didn't realize people would love it so much.
I loved it.
Okay, good.
Yeah. The first time I went to the thing, I was like, what's this? I was scrolling around. I'm like, that's super cool. I clicked on it. I spent about 5 minutes looking at the pictures and the old. Yeah, dude, that's really swanky, man.
So yeah, and like the thing is, so we're giving. It's almost like we're giving Mississauga an identity, and you need to show them the history of Mississauga. To be proud of Mississauga,
for sure,
right? We show pictures of Square One in 1974,
sure,
and then I found you get to meet a lot of people throughout this journey too.
Yeah, for sure.
But the older guys that have they have the mall directory from Square One from 1974, right?
People hold on to this stuff sometimes.
Oh my god, yeah, no, this is gold, right?
Yeah,
I'm like, dude, can I just scan it?
Yeah,
let me just scan it and put it on my site. And then I later found out that I have friends that work at Square One and stuff like that. They literally tagged all the stores. Right, because they had no idea there was a Woolco there. You know what I mean? You remember Woolco? Yeah,
sure.
It's like we're talking. Are we the same age? Yeah. Anyways, okay.
I'm 41.
Okay. Yeah, we're okay. We're the Transformer generation.
I like your haircut, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So I feel like I was on the site for a bit, maybe about 5 minutes on the historical page, maybe in total about 25 minutes, just clicking different articles, like the real estate article for a bit, just checking out the house prices and this sort of thing. I feel like you've given Mississauga a bit of a soul.
Try to. So nobody's ever said it that way, but that does sound really cool. But so we're trying to give it I guess a soul would be a good word, but we give them so we started with top 5s. The top 5s are super popular on our site. Okay. So if you go on Google and you type in top 5 pizza, pho, Indian food, butter chicken, anything you want, we're number 1, right? So the thing is, people come to us for food. Right? Okay. Because they had no idea this food exists. Because one thing about Mississauga is that I would think before InSauga, you traveled to Toronto, right? To go out. For sure. And then the people that live in Port Credit are very localized. They still like to stay in Port Credit.
Sure, it's got that nice little core there.
Yeah. So and then if you're Square One area, you stay within the Square One area. Sure. So ever since we started this top 5 thing, people have direct messaged us and pretty much said, thanks for letting us know, because we had no idea this existed.
One of the things in Toronto you can get is there's all sorts of, for me, so I live in Uxbridge, but when I'm in Toronto, it's like, what do I want for lunch today? Well, the last thing I want to do is go to Subway. I'm not hating on Subway or anything like that, but I love those little ethnic kitchens that you can find here and there where the guy's got the best. Like there's a place in Scarborough, Chris Jerk. He's got jerk chicken shawarma.
Yeah, okay.
It's so good, dude. Yeah, it's like only in Scarborough, or maybe there's a place in Mississauga that does too, but it's so good, dude.
It's the mom and pop shops that make the city. It's not the Walmarts. It's not the big box stores that make communities. It's the mom and pop shops.
Sure. That's where the flavor is, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's the so we try to, in our top 5s, what we do is we do mom and pop shops. We just show off mom and pop shops. I mean, we'll never put a Boston pizza in there. Top 5 Boston pizzas in Mississauga. Woo. Yeah, nobody will care, right? Yeah. But every single top 5 will be
best shawarma in Mississauga or whatever.
Yeah, it's like we have best shawarma, best underground shawarma, best because we've done it for so long that it's like people want to know where the hidden shawarma spots are. The best ones in the alley. Stuff like that. But we have fun with it. These are not scientific, right?
Yeah.
But
so you go in there for a shawarma and taking a picture and putting it up, or is that how it works?
Well, the funny thing is, so it's mystery based, right? It's mystery shopper based. So the shawarma story is kind of funny and kind of cool because I don't do the top 5s anymore. I have foodies that do it. Okay. And but before, when I first started, I had to do everything. I literally had to do everything, right? Okay. Yeah. So the shawarma thing in Mississauga, it's just the mecca of shawarma joints. Right?
It's better than Scarborough?
No, I'm talking numbers.
Okay.
I'm not talking I'm talking good, but pure numbers. So I'm like looking it up online. I'm like, there's 35 shawarma joints in Mississauga, right? So I'm like, I have to be fair. Yeah. So I have to go to each one. So
that's not a bad thing.
No, it can be a bad thing, right? Okay. So 3 days, right? And 3 days, 8 hours a day. This is like 4 or 5 years ago, and I went to about 35 shawarma joints, and I still have the picture. I don't know. I can't show it on right now, but anyways, sure. I still have the picture of every single shawarma I went to. So you take one bite, and we have a checklist on kind of the way to the, kind of just a checklist on what we
meat
check.
to ratio,
sauces, and kind of like everything,
sure,
and the hot sauce and stuff. So yeah, that was one of the first top 5s.
Dude, it sounds like so much fun, man.
It was fun, but I mean, like after the 20th hour of eating shawarma, it's not as fun anymore.
It's fun to tell a story, though.
Yeah, it is. So, but yes, and that's one of our top red top 5s. And our number one red top 5 are our top 5 all-day breakfast joints, and that's been read now close to 750,000 times.
Wow, that's powerful, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's and so it's just 750,000 times.
So was InSauga the first time you were an entrepreneur?
No. First time I was an entrepreneur. So I'll tell you what I did before. I had we'll start from school. Is that okay?
Yeah.
You okay with that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
We got time.
So graduated marketing, Sheridan College.
Okay.
Couldn't find a job.
All right.
I couldn't find a marketeer job. You know what I mean? Okay, so they're like, hey, they're like, hey, you're gonna find a job, pay $60,000, and you get out there, you're like, hey, it doesn't
materialize.
Yeah. So I went back to school. Paid, did one of those. You pay $15,000 and you learn everything.
Teach you all of it.
Yeah, it's like web design, Photoshop, everything like that. Right.
Yeah.
And
is that the International School of Design? Or
it's one of them. It's one of them. So, but the thing is, it was good though, because this is when it's kind of weird. This is when I found out I was good at something.
Okay.
I always knew I was good at kind of creative thinking, marketing, strategy, and stuff like that. And then this is when I decided when I learned that I was good at kind of design and web, right? So this school actually allowed me to design their website. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, and where was I going with this?
Want to smash a date on that?
Oh man, we're talking about early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
Yeah. So, and then after that, I started
entrepreneurial journey.
Yes. Yeah. So, and then early 2000s, I started a design company, like a graphic design company. Just like probably everybody started a graphic design company at one point, right? Okay, so
I haven't, but I know a lot of people who have.
Yeah.
Actually.
Okay. So, and then I started that, and then from that graphic design company, I teamed up with these other 2 guys that did kind of like marketing strategy and sales.
Okay.
So we started a marketing company as one of the partners, and then from there. And I guess this is still all part of the entrepreneurial journey, but then I just had that idea for InSauga and just thought, I just want to keep that idea kind of to myself. I want to do it by myself.
I didn't tell anyone about it.
I didn't tell anybody about it.
Sure.
I resigned my post at the marketing company.
Mm-hmm. Did you sell your shares?
We weren't that big. I mean, we were just more like
sole proprietors working together.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then I started InSauga. So that's kind of, so I mean, like I had two businesses prior to,
Did you borrow money?
Did I borrow money?
Did you already bootstrap it with your own cash?
Dude, nobody's going to lend you monny.
I know.
You know that. I mean,
every business I've started with my own money and made it work.
Yeah, no bank will ever say, "Hey, take my money." You just put it in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so up to this point, I haven't received a single cent from any bank.
You know what's weird? There was a guy, a couple people that I had working for me for a couple years, and there was these what do they call those places the government sets up where people can go and try to start businesses? They're called
BDC.
No, BDC was one of the funders, but. Yeah. It's like there's a name for these places, and people can go there. They get free workspace, and they get this and that, and then they can pitch their idea to a board.
Okay.
I knew a bunch of guys that worked for me that went down there and did this thing, and they got like $75,000.
Okay, cool.
And like of seed capital. Okay, everyone failed, which is fine. Okay.
Yeah.
But all the successful entrepreneurs I know, none of them got money from anybody.
The thing is that you're not going to get money from anybody. I've asked. Right, I've gone to banks and like, oh well, do you have your left arm?
Do you collateral?
Like, yeah, it's like I'm like, no, I run my own business.
Yeah, sure.
Right, I'm broke ass. Right,
yeah.
I'm like, if you start your own business, you're pretty much.
You got to live like a pauper for a while, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
totally. So so nobody's ever lent me money, and so
It's funny. I never borrowed any money either, and I asked for it too, but they didn't give it to me. now they're happy to give it to me, but I don't need it anymore. That's the problem. They're just trying to get their hooks into you. So okay. What was moderating the mayoral debate in 2014? Was that your first big political event that you did?
Yeah, I don't go out there trying to get political events, right? If they ask me, I'll for sure do it. This one's something that I couldn't pass up because it was 2014, and it was right after Hazel McCallion said she wasn't going to run.
Sure.
So this was the biggest, vote.
Legit debate. It was a legit debate.
It was legit, and it was the biggest vote that Mississauga ever had, just because Hazel's been mayor for, I believe, 35 years at this point.
That, yeah.
And so this was, literally 25 candidates. It's like so they asked me to be part of this this debate, and it was kind of a funny story because I got Rogers TV to do it live. I had a good relationship with them, so it had to be 2 hours live, right? And the people that organized it gave me the timing, right? So at 7:30,
did you get to stream it on your site at the same time?
No, I didn't. This is pre-Facebook Live.
Okay.
So we're talking 2014. I think Facebook Live just got popular 2015. Okay. So see how fast technology changes.
Yeah,
but yeah. So, and the funny thing is, so on my sheet, it said 8:15, right? This is the time it should have been at 8:15, right? I'm looking at my time. It's fucking 7:30. There's 45 minutes to fill, right?
With no candidates.
No, everybody's there, right?
Okay.
But it's just that they messed up the timing,
okay,
right? So it had to be 2 hours because it's on live television,
sure,
right? This is on Rogers TV,
sure,
live. And then I chose not to use an IFB. I chose not to use any headpieces,
okay,
right? So stupid choice. So when the candidate was talking, the producer at the back sends me a note. He writes down, WTF. You have 45 minutes to fill, right? Because at that point, it was literally, the timing was completely off.
You got to sling it.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, there was one part where one candidate can ask another candidate a question.
Okay.
Right. And of course, they're going to go after the two that are the main guys.
Yeah, sure.
At the time was Steve Mahoney and Bonnie Crombie. Bonnie Crombie, the mayor, is now. And this was awesome because they kept on bashing them, right? So everybody, like, all of a sudden this became a debate, right?
Sure.
And
did it get toxic?
Yeah, it did. It was awesome, right? So it was what it should have been, right? So what I did was I had to fill in 45 minutes. So I'm just like, let's do it again, right? Yeah, sure. So they did it again and again and again. And because I did this, it got exciting, and it got on Global. Ooh. It got on CBC. It got on all the news stations, right? It wouldn't have done that if, we kept on talking about the arts.
Sure.
Like, as much as I love the arts.
Sure, me too.
Yeah, but anyway, so that was pretty fun. It was very fun, just seeing everybody just fighting. I mean, that's what they want to see. I mean, that's what politics is about. It's become
that, I think.
It's the media soap opera. That's what it is.
It's become that. I was talking to someone the other day in here, who was Sarah Hanlon, who won. Matt, fill me in. Is it? Big Brother. Okay. Big Brother 3. Yeah. And we were talking about politics and Big Brother. It's almost like a reality TV show now.
It totally is. And if you think about the news at night, right? Imagine, take out politics. Yeah. What would you be talking about? You literally would have like 5 minutes of news left, right? I mean, almost everything that,
You take out Trump and you have 5 minutes of news left.
Yeah, exactly.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, but the thing is now with all, with Patrick Brown, with Doug Ford,
sure.
The media loves it. I mean, because there's so much to talk about.
But they also seem to, like, depending on the news station or whatever, they seem to characterize someone, and then they I don't know how to put it. They seem to find those bites of news that they want to. Like, does InSauga have a political leaning?
No. I mean, because we're very lean in the sense that we're a small company. We have we have 8 people. You know what I mean? So we don't. Most
news organizations have an angle.
Yeah, we don't have an angle.
No angle.
No angle. I mean, if Patrick Brown was on my show last week, Linda Jeffries is going to be on this week. And so I'm just like, I'm open for anybody. You know, Trudeau wants to come on, come on type thing. So, yeah.
That would be a big show for you.
We'll see. He's not coming on.
So where were we there? So you're doing this debate. The sparks are flying.
Yeah.
Did you just sit back and just let it rip, or were you actively moderating, shutting people down when they were going too long? And
yeah, I had to shut them down I guess when they are going too long. They don't know how to handle me either too, because I mean, if shaved head, tattoos and stuff like that, and like
t-shirt. Were you wearing a t-shirt?
No, I was wearing a dress shirt, right? But I'm like,
did you put a tie on?
No, I only own one tie. So I mean, like but like they don't know how to handle me. So I just I like to pose kind of the hammer sometimes, just saying, guys, stop.
Did you have a gavel?
No, I wish I did. That'd have been awesome. Good idea for this time.
Grab the gavel, man.
Yeah, because the election's coming up October 22nd.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Are you gonna do a couple live events on InSauga?
We're trying to set up a debate. For the both Brampton and Mississauga, so we'll see what happens.
Your mission's evolving.
Oh, it's totally evolving, and the thing is, going back to when we first started to now, we didn't have any news when we first started. We started news the day that the house exploded.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because before that it was events, fun stuff, history, but then the house explosion happened. And we started putting out PSAs kind of for that area, the city, and talking to the cops, that area.
What does PSA stand for? Fill me in.
Public service announcement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. So, but so we started just doing up, kind of public service announcements for that area, just because people didn't know what was going on, and people couldn't live in their houses. Like the entire block was destroyed almost.
Yeah.
And
that's a heavy-duty local news story.
It was huge. Yeah. It was, like I said, it was on CNN. It was on BBC, right? So we started doing that, and then we started seeing our numbers. We're like, wait, hold on. Why are numbers going up so? Like, people are people are coming to us for news, right? Then I'm like, I talked to my my only writer at the time, Ashley Newport, and she's been there since almost day one. She's my senior editor now. And I'm like, look, our numbers are going up because of these PSAs. And then so we just said, okay, let's try this. Let's start throwing out a couple of news items here and there.
Sure.
People gravitated to us for that. And so we hired a couple of writers from, kind of The Sun, and there's just so many writers out there right now,
there's
unfortunately.
A lot,
just because...
they're probably willing to work freelance or per piece or stuff like that.
Yeah, so we hired them full-time, and now we have full-time, breaking news. So
how many people you got?
We got 8 people.
8 people?
Yeah,
okay.
So we got 8, so we got like 5 core writers, and then we have like sales and, tech and stuff like that. But and ever since then, we started news, and now we have kind of like we don't have a 24-hour news cycle. We have, I think it was a 18-hour news cycle. So
how long, this is a good question for entrepreneurs. How long did it take you to get profitable, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, I don't mind at all. It took about 4 years.
4 years.
4 years. And it's one of those things that when you start a website, you really can't make money until you hit a certain threshold of page views.
Sure.
Right? So that threshold is like, between 500,000 and 750,000, because if you don't have page views, you can't sell.
Sure.
Right? So it took 4 years. I mean, it's that's why kind of people with money, they never start websites. They buy websites because it takes so long to create a successful website. So when we launched, it took us 4 years to get profitable. And as soon as it became, as soon as we started making money, I literally threw it back into it to create in Brampton, right? And then to create in Halton, right? So now, in Brampton, we were the number one media company in Brampton within a month of launching, right? We're sitting at about 850,000 page views a month, right? So right now, and then about 8 months later, we started in Halton, and in Halton, within a month, we were the number one media company in Burlington, Oakville, and Milton. right? So it was just one of those things that the strong brand presence with InSauga obviously helped that. We didn't get 800,000 page views on InSauga until almost year 5. It's
Sure.
crazy.
You had momentum.
So it's like within a month we had that in Brampton.
I think that's also Google's algorithm better at serving up results too.
Yeah.
Like more recent stuff and,
The only thing is when you start, it doesn't happen right away.
No way.
Right? So, I mean, you're talking like Brampton, Halton, we had to wait a few months. Sometimes you have to wait for news. You have to wait 5-6 months to get it for them to pick up the news in Halton because they don't know that you're a news site. Right. So we have to kind of tell Google, hey, by the way, can you check out our site? We are a news site. Right. And, so we kind of exploded into Halton and Brampton.
Exploded. That's a good way to put it. I like that. How did it affect your family life that 4 years when you were struggling with a startup?
It's tough.
Are you married?
I'm married, and have a 13-year-old kid.
Okay.
It at the end of the day, if you start your own business, I think it's going to be the toughest thing professionally that you will ever do. I mean it. To say that it didn't affect my family life would be a lie. It's you're struggling with money. That's going to affect family life. You're working like a dog. You're working, 16 hours a day. Yeah. That's going to affect your family life.
Sure.
So I mean, it did affect family life, but I did have a good, I did have a core group, my family to support me of what I'm doing. And one thing about starting a business, I think you just do have to have that core group there for you because you're going to go through some downs that if you didn't have these core people, you'd go crazy. You need that the hug from your 13-year-old saying you're going to do it. I'm like, okay, as long as you say it, things like that. So you definitely have to have that core foundation of support.
Was it an emotional roller coaster for you a bit?
100%. I mean, it's it totally was. Just going through the points that we discussed, it was just we went through ups and downs all throughout the first 4 years. We're still going through ups and downs now. I mean, it's still tough.
It's still a business. For sure.
It's still a business. So, and I've pretty much started a meeting.
Well, you don't have it on cruise control. Come on, man.
I really don't. I mean, but the thing is, I've got into the media world when the media world was dying.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
So, so I mean, it's there's still ups and downs now, but it's not as bad as it was when you first start, because there's just so much uncertainty when you start. You're like, what? Are people going to come on? It's like, how do I make money on this?
For sure, dude. Yes, I totally get it, man. I've started 4 businesses, and one of them failed. 3 of them succeeded.
Okay.
And this is my 4th one.
Nice.
But I always tell the people when they say, "Oh, you're an entrepreneur," or whatever. It's so great. It must be so awesome to do what you want.
And the funny thing is, and it's like, "Oh, you must be rich."
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's the other way around, dude. Yeah. It's like you're actually poor ass.
Yeah.
When you first start.
Oh, when I started, so I actually started Lighting Solutions, my other company, when I was 23.
Yeah.
And then I got married, then I had a kid. And all of a sudden, my wife's on maternity leave, and I have a child, and I have a mortgage, and I'm like, I gotta sell a lot of light bulbs.
Yeah.
Man. I gotta figure out how to do this.
But that's when you find out who you really are professionally. I mean,
sure.
It's like it just that's when you can go one way or the other.
Sure.
And that's when you truly find out when what kind of person you are as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. You have
the guts, man.
You have It's like it's not anybody that has not been through an emotional roller coaster. And kind of rough times with money and stuff like that, and just has not really, kind of filled the journey as an entrepreneur or a business owner. So.
I think a lot of people, I don't want to work a 9 to 5, man. I can't do that. I can't sit at the desk all day and all this kind of stuff. It's like, those kind of thoughts don't even occur to entrepreneurs. It's not even about whether or not you're like, I'm very engaged all the time.
Yeah.
you know, and I think a lot of people that are employees don't understand that there's anxiety and stress associated with that level of engagement. You know, you got to make your payroll. You know, you get up to I have 25 employees now.
Yeah.
That payroll's got to hit, dude.
Yeah, and that's my thing. You know, somebody asked me, it's like, you know, what do you worry about your business the most, right? And the thing is, it's you have 25 people on your payroll, right? You know, I have like 8 people on the payroll. All those 8 people are counting on me.
All their families are.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, are counting on me to keep it going.
Sure.
You know, and that's pressure, but I don't want to let them down. You know, I mean, that's my, you know, that's my kind of, one of my goals is that I don't want to let them down. Like, you know, here's my thing. I want to keep going with it. I want to keep growing it.
Especially the people that have stuck with you for a long time.
Yes,
I feel obligated to them. It's like I have an electrician who's worked for me for almost, 10, 12 years now.
Yeah.
And it's like we got really slow for a bit, and it's like we got to find some work for this guy because I'm not going to let him go. I'm not going to let him lay him off.
And the thing is, I think that shows a lot about what kind of business owners we are.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, a lot of people wouldn't think that way, right? So, but it was just. I
think it's just a different way to serve yourself in a way, though. I hate to say it, but like it's like. By caring for people, you help yourself too, right? I think with good people, they know that you care about them.
Yeah.
They know they're engaged with you. They care about the business as well.
Yeah.
I want to throw a theory at you.
Yeah.
I believe that readiness is a myth.
Readiness?
Readiness.
Okay.
So like the big decisions in life. Are you ready to be married? Are you ready to be a father? Are you ready to start a business? I think all 3 of those you can never be ready for. You'll never have enough money to do it. There'll never be a time when everything comes together and it's perfect time to start a business, get married, or have a child.
Yeah.
I think it's a myth.
I agree with you. I mean, like I always, what's that saying? If, at least with my case, if my parents were, my parents are immigrants, right?
Okay.
And if they're actually ready to have a baby, I would have never been born.
There you go.
Right. So, and if you think about like, you know, Canada, most of our parents, you know, in my generation are immigrants. Right. And, you know, we have it easy. You know, our generation does have it easy. We have it so easy compared to our parents. You know, our parents are like, you know, they immigrated here. They had to work at hotels, restaurants and stuff like that. And to pay like, you know, a mortgage that, you know, they paid 16% interest on.
For sure. Yeah.
Right. So, and it's just they have it. We have it easy.
Sure.
Right?
We're the people that live right now in Canada are living in the greatest place ever to live with the wealthiest people ever to live. The healthiest, wealthiest people. Yeah. Maybe not the happiest.
We're the luckiest.
We
are the luckiest. I mean, all you have to do is travel anywhere in the world to you know.
If you live in Canada, you won the lottery already.
That's what I say. Exactly what I say is that you have won the lottery. I go to, I'm lucky enough to be the Tokyo tourism Canadian ambassador. Right.
Okay. That sounds like a pretty cool job.
It was the coolest job ever. I mean, like I go down once, twice a year and create videos about top 5 places in Tokyo. So where I was going with this story, first of all, Tokyo and Japan, incredible. And I'm half Japanese. And people in Japan, you think people in Japan, and they're very well off. They're very well educated. They're you know, transportation and electronics, they're just miles ahead of us. And every time I say that, you know, I'm from Canada, you know what they say? They say, "You're lucky. I love it there." You know, and people want to come.
Sure.
You know, and we're not talking third world country. We're talking first world country, right? So, so you go to, obviously, you know, down south to the Caribbean and stuff like that. And anyways, we
think about how beautiful it is to live in the Caribbean, but nobody immigrates there from Canada.
You're right. Yeah.
And it's not to criticize the people that live there, but there's something special we have here.
Yeah. All you have to do is travel a little bit to realize how good we have it here.
Sure.
You know, and you wouldn't complain as much. You wouldn't, you know, like, you just wouldn't complain as much. You know, you'd just be like, wow, we have it good here.
I'll give you an anecdote, okay? And we're not going to get into a big healthcare debate, but
okay.
I'm thinking of investing in a business in the United States with a partner. Okay. And we're talking to the person he's gonna get sweat equity shares in the company. He's gonna start it for us. We're gonna be the investors.
Cool.
And we're talking about it with them and all sort of stuff. And he's like, yeah, well, what about the benefits? And I'm like, oh, whatever benefits, I'm not even thinking about it, right? Because, benefits here is like, oh, get your teeth cleaned twice a year and your prescription drugs.
Yeah.
Right? But in Missouri or something like that, benefits are, if I get into a car crash, I need to be able to pay for my surgeries and my care.
Yeah, true.
Like it's a totally different mindset. Right? And they're like, no, we have to have benefits. I'm like, we can get benefits after a year. And he's like, no. If you want to get good people, you have to pay $500 to $600 a month per employee for health insurance. I'm like, well, what are the people that don't have health insurance?
True.
You know what I mean? So Canada's got a good thing going here, man. A lot of different angles.
Yeah, and that's one of the main reasons why I guess Canada has so many entrepreneurs is that in the U.S. there's one thing that's lacking. It's healthcare. Well,
Donald Trump's going to make it a legal subsidy for business, our healthcare system. That's the next one I've heard.
Okay.
So it's against NAFTA, the Ontario Health Insurance Plan. That's hopefully we don't go down that road, but that's the vibe, man.
Let's not talk about
Trump.
Okay. Yeah.
That'd be a tough one for us. I want to ask you something about creativity. You're obviously a very creative guy, okay? And I think creativity is a lot rarer than people think. And I think creativity is like being 6'11" in a way.
Okay.
It's something that you're born with, but you have to learn how to play basketball. But if you're 6'11", basketball playing is a lot easier, right? Do you think that anxiety and creativity go together? That people that are creative tend to be more anxious? Like anxiety is kind of negative creativity in a way?
That's a good question.
I find a lot of entrepreneurs have this dilemma. It's like they're calling me up, hey, Mike, I'm thinking about my business. I'm like, yeah, you're just anxious. It's the negative creativity you're feeling right now.
I don't know, man. Sorry.
That's okay, man.
It's one of those things. One guy told me, he goes, if you don't know the answer, just say you don't know the answer.
Yeah, sure.
I just don't know the answer to that.
What's your opinion on it? What's your gut tell you?
Sorry, I don't even understand the question. Sorry.
Okay, so if you're creative,
yeah,
right? Creativity is a sort of way of focusing on something very intensely until you find the solution, right?
Yeah.
And I think I've come to see that with other entrepreneurs, they tend to go through these waves of anxiety. We're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then waves of creativity. And I think they're kind of tied closely to one another. Okay. It's like you go through this period of like, how am I going to pay this payroll? And it's like you're really focused on it. And the anxiety you feel as an entrepreneur, I'm not talking about other things, but that anxiety you feel as an entrepreneur is really like a negative creativity. You're doing the same thing you're doing when you're thinking about starting InSauga. You're just thinking about a problem that's impending, and it's like, I got to make that payroll. How am I going to do it? Where am I going to get the money and this kind of stuff? I feel like they're the same process in a way as an entrepreneur. I
don't think about it that way. I think more in the sense that it will get done. Like I just if I have payroll coming up, or having a bad month, I'm like, we're going to get this done. I give the pep talk to the salespeople and all that fun stuff.
Get after it.
Yeah. But and it always ends up happening. I think if you kind of stress about it a little or stress about it a lot, I mean, you can't, it'd be really hard to grow the business because you'd be stressed out all the time.
But I think you're speaking as an experienced entrepreneur here.
No, but I've always been that way.
Is that right?
Since day one. It's
really?
if you don't,
you chill.
I'm chill. I'm very chill. I know what I know what makes me happy. I know what as much as I kind of know what I'm doing, right? It's like I know
what you mean when you say that.
But I try not to stress on the things that I know will hopefully work out on its own.
What message would you give to would-be entrepreneurs? Someone out there that's listening to this saying, gosh, I have this great idea. What would you tell them?
Man.
Don't do it.
No, it's not even that. I think if you're an entrepreneur, I think you're an entrepreneur a long time ago, right? Okay. It's not one of these things that, when I was in grade school, I was doing things, I was doing things that were entrepreneurial, and that word didn't even exist when I went to school. Sure. And it's really gotten popular over the last maybe 3-4 years.
Maybe yeah.
Right. So I always knew, I always had ideas. I always kind of, I wonder if this would work. I wonder if this would work, right? So you kind of always know you're going to be an entrepreneur, and so I wouldn't say being an entrepreneur is for everybody. And that's not saying that it's a bad thing. I think some of the happiest people I know, to be honest with you, are not entrepreneurs, right?
Okay.
And some of the most stressed out people that I know are entrepreneurs, right? So I don't think it's meant for everybody, and
Sure.
I'm not saying it's not a negative thing. If you're not, if you're not doing what you love 9 to 5, and you think it's okay, but you're having a great family life, that counts. That counts more than having an incredible business and having no family life.
And 16 hours a day of working.
Yeah. So I don't like the kind of the attitude now that you have to be an entrepreneur to be happy. I don't think that is the case at all. I think you can be happy having a 9 to 5, and not every single person is meant to be an entrepreneur. And the thing is too, if you start your own business, you're gonna have kind of a group of friends or a system in place where they're gonna tell you that it's a good idea that it might not be. They'll just keep on feeding you, saying good for you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. So I don't know where I'm getting at with this, but I mean,
advice for people, would-bes.
Yeah. So I mean, like if you're an entrepreneur, you know that you're going to be an entrepreneur, and I'd say go for it. You have nothing to lose. I mean, I come from. I'm not going to give the sob story that I come from nothing or anything like
Sure.
that. Like I went to TL Kennedy, which is the kind of the ghetto area of Mississauga.
Okay.
I'm sorry I said that, TL Kennedy, but
we got love for you, TL Kennedy.
yeah,
That's good.
Yeah. So so went to kind of like the poverty-stricken area of Mississauga.
Sure.
My broken family, single mom,
Sure.
all that stuff, and I still kind of did okay. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I mean, I would say if you have an idea, if you know that you can kind of strive to be an entrepreneur, and I say go for it.
I think it's a good point that you made, that one of the things I never thought of, but most of the entrepreneurs I know did do stuff when they were kids that were entrepreneurial.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I got a paper route. I bought the other guy's paper route from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I bought the other route too.
Yeah. Okay. And that same
You know
year,
what I mean?
I had a paper route, and I'm like, how many more paper routes can I get?
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
like 11. I'm 11 years old.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I was doing the same thing. Pulling my
Yeah.
Toronto Star card. I'm like, how much you want for your route? You want me to deliver your papers for you today?
Yeah.
I'll just take care of it for you.
Yeah,
Exactly. I'll
exactly.
take care of it for you.
Yeah.
I'll give you 10% or what. I can't remember how it happened.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting 2 different routes.
Yeah.
And just things like that people do that are entrepreneurs. They have it when they're young.
Yeah, they do. And they know that,
Mm.
right? It's just coming out, like, just say, I hate my job. I need to start something on my own.
Yeah.
Then if you've never had an entrepreneurial kind of mindset,
Yeah.
that's going to be tough,
Sure.
right? Because, you've had paychecks all your life.
Yeah. Coming in
Right?
steady.
Yeah. So I think if you're an entrepreneur. I don't know what that one thing or one that one point that will make you an entrepreneur, but but like I said before, it's not meant for everybody.
Yeah.
And like I said, some of the happiest people I know have 9 to 5s.
It's true. A lot of people I know work for big corporations and do very well, make very good money. And they do all sorts of different things. They accountants, lawyers, they sell medical supplies, and they do well. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think being an entrepreneur is better than doing anything else. I think it's a different path for some people.
It's a totally different path.
Yeah,
So
I agree with you on that. All right. Any books that you read or that you can send out there? Are you a big book reader, business book reader?
I'm going to be honest, no, not at
No.
all. Like 0% on
Okay.
that one. I apologize. I'm going to shut you down on that question.
Okay, yeah, no worries, man.
Sorry.
All right, I'm going to ask you one more.
Yeah. That's it?
We can keep going. What time is it? Oh, yeah, we can keep rolling. We've been
Yeah.
going for about an hour.
Okay. I can keep going.
I was going to, maybe this one will pop out a little bit more.
Okay.
If you were talking to you, what would you ask you?
Sorry, say that again?
If you were asking yourself questions, what's the most interesting thing you'd ask?
That's a good question. I would say, when are you going to get back into the pro wrestling ring, Khaled?
Ooh, okay. We can go. I saw that right there. Part-time pro wrestler.
Okay.
All right.
So
You want to start right now, me and you?
let's do it. We'll make noises. So, so first
So you're talking legit Greco-Roman wrestling, or
no, we're talking pro wrestling, like WWE style.
Come on, man.
Yeah, this was the most fun I've ever had. So, right now is the most.
Come on, man.
No, this is it was the most fun.
You're talking suplexes and
We're
stuff
talking. We're talking that stuff.
like flying from the top ropes.
I didn't get that far.
Okay.
But I mean, like, we're talking pro wrestling. So first off, I'm having more fun now than ever.
Okay.
Like I get to do stuff that, my friends always say, you're living your childhood dream now. And I didn't even think about it until I'm
Sure.
like, shit. I mean, I am but the thing is, the cool thing is too, is that I get to bring my son everywhere with me.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
I have my TV shows. He comes with me, so it's allowed me to, bring the family along as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
So this pro wrestling thing,
So you got to start that from the beginning, man.
okay. So are you a WWE fan? Like, do
I
you
was
watch?
when I was younger.
Okay.
I don't watch it much anymore. I kind of graduated to UFC. a
Okay,
little bit.
and so have I.
Okay.
So have you heard of a wrestler named Santino Marella?
No.
Okay, so he was he was in WWE for about 8 years, mid 2005 to about probably 2015. So he's 8 to 10 years he was in WWE. Very successful. He's won the Intercontinental and Tag Team.
Okay.
And I didn't know he's from Mississauga.
Okay.
Right. So he has a gym called Battle Arts Academy.
Okay.
Right. And he teaches pro wrestling. And every month he has a kind of a house show in there. Right. So he created this Battle Arts so they can transform it into kind of a wrestling stage.
Okay.
Right. It's Don Koloff Arena. And so every month they have this, this WWE style wrestling thing, and he has about 50 or 60 wrestlers. So he allowed me to train with him.
Okay.
Right. So he taught me how to pro wrestle, kind of like how to take a chop, how to take a punch, how to take a slam and stuff like that. And this was the coolest thing ever, and
Sure.
So and this is all documented. So this documentary, a 4-minute documentary, is on InSauga.com. You could see it. And so they allowed me to enter a battle royal, which is kind of like a 20-man battle royal over the top ropes. Right?
Okay.
So I went through about a month of training. Right,
Okay.
and it's
You look pretty fit, so you're generally pretty fit, right?
yeah. I try to work out as much as possible.
Okay, so that's twice a day, or once a day, or 3 times a week?
5 days a week.
5 days a week. Okay.
5? Did I say that? Yeah, 5 days a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then so he allowed me to be part of this battle royal.
Okay.
Okay, and anyway, so I got in there, and Santino's like, "You're gonna win it," right? And I'm like,
Okay.
like beforehand, the script,
Sure.
it's like, you're gonna win. I'm like, dude, I don't want to win. I'm like, I'm gonna do this once, right?
Sure.
Give it to a villain or something,
Yeah.
give it to the heel, right? And then I'm like, he goes, okay, right? So I get out there, and I'm that guest that comes out, I throw out my shirt, trying to make the best of it, right? Yeah, it was crazy. My son's out there, and the funny thing with my son, he didn't know it was orchestrated. He thought everything was real.
Oh my goodness.
Right? So
How old was he at this time?
he was about 10.
10,
Right?
okay.
So he's like, what is going on? My dad's getting beaten up in there, right? And he's like, his
I'm
eyes-
laughing, but yeah.
no, but it's like, I told him afterwards, it's orchestrated, right?
Yeah, sure.
So at the end,
So how many guys come in the Battle Royal?
So 20. There was
20 guys.
So
and you're all in the ring together.
they were all in the ring
Is
together.
it one at a time, then 2 guys? And
No,
3?
this is so the WWE has a battle. I think I forgot what it's called, but they do one at a time.
Yeah.
This is all 20 at the same time. You
Okay.
just ding ding. We all start punching each other.
Okay.
Right. So and so at the end it was me and this other guy, and he pretty much told me, he goes, everything's real except for the outcome. Right.
Right.
In wrestling, it is real.
You're getting
because
hit. You're getting slammed.
It's like he pretty much told me, I'm going to punch you as hard as I can. Just move out of the way. Right.
Okay.
So he swung, and obviously I moved out of the way, and then started punching him. And one thing that they taught me was how to get thrown over the top ropes correctly.
Okay.
Okay. Because this is the part that I will be doing.
Sure.
Right. And anyways, so I'm having so much fun. People
Sure.
are like cheering for me and stuff. I forget everything. Right.
Yeah.
So like he's throwing me to the ropes, and I'm about to get thrown out, and I'm like, I'm not doing this correctly.
Yeah.
Right? I get thrown over. My head almost smashes onto the ground. Right.
Sure.
But it didn't. Thank goodness. And he won, and anyways, that
So you didn't win in the end.
I didn't win. But I mean,
Finished second last.
It was the most fun I've ever had in my life. So, but that was my pro wrestling debut. I've had 2 more matches since then.
Okay,
right?
one-on-one or battle royal?
Battle royal and a tag team.
And a tag team.
Yeah, I won the battle royal at City Hall.
Okay.
Okay, at Mississauga City Hall. And anyways, like I said, I'm having a lot of fun.
So how do you fly out of the ring and land correctly?
Okay, so you have to kind of lean your body over the top rope, grab onto the ground, right, and kind of catapult yourself over, right?
So it's like a flip.
It's like a flip. I didn't do any of that. I literally went right over.
Whew.
Yeah, so I was lucky that I didn't get hurt. But
Sure.
I made it look more real.
Isn't that life's like that? Sometimes you're lucky that you didn't get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like with InSauga. You started it. You're lucky you didn't get hurt. You
True.
did well.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah,
I'm doing okay. So
cool.
long way to go still.
What do you got? You gonna go any further with the pro wrestling? You gonna keep rocking it?
Probably not. I mean, it's tough.
Come on, it's time to make a comeback, man.
I'm an old man.
Do you have a name?
Do
you have like a fake name? Like
no, actually,
the
don't.
Masher?
Hey, let's find one now.
All right, let's think about
Khaled's. What do you want to call it?
Oh, I don't know. I think it could be like the
Khaled Crush.
No, the Rising Sun Brawler.
The Rising. Okay.
The Sushi Master.
The Sushi Master. Okay. Come in with chopsticks. Right. So, but yeah.
Now, you remember when we were kids, like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat?
Dude, I totally
Come
remember
on,
that.
man.
Yeah. So
Ricky the Dragon was the man.
Okay. So one cool story about wrestling. So we had another show on my show at the City Hall at Celebration Square. And
the Iron Sheik too. Sorry.
Nikolai Volkov just died. Did you hear about that?
Oh, no, R.I.P. Nikolai Volkov.
Yeah, no. So, and then all of a sudden, so they're setting up the ring. Santino Morella's there, and all of a sudden, this guy shows up. Do you remember the Brooklyn Brawler?
Of course, man. Yeah, the Brooklyn Brawler.
He was there.
Was he overweight, or was he still looking jacked?
No, he's. It was funny because he was one of those guys that he plays a role outside of the role.
Okay.
Right? So he sounds like the Brooklyn Brawler even when you talk to him normally.
So he's still the Brooklyn. He's always in character.
I'm like, yes. And like I caught him one time, like we're in the back room, and he's like trying to teach my son how to swear, right? And I'm like, dude,
what are you doing, man?
Yeah, it's like, anyways, it was kind of cool seeing the Brooklyn Brawler because he grew up with him, right? But yeah, so that was kind of cool.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I mean, yeah. You know, it'd be hilarious. Like if you see who was that other guy with the long brown hair that was so crazy? They used to throw him off the top cages and all that.
Are you talking about Ultimate Warrior?
No, he had long hair. He was kind of chubby though too.
Oh man,
and he was all those cage matches and stuff. Oh man, trying to remember his name. The Ultimate. There was Is the Undertaker still around? I think he still wrestles.
He still wrestles. He was in the last WrestleMania.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's. Anyways, yeah. To be honest, like you, I don't watch it as much anymore. Right. So, but yeah. Just it's. I've been living quite the. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, I think you're a personality in Mississauga now, so you're kind of part of the vibe.
I try to be.
Yeah.
Try to be. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. So and doing the whole Japan Tokyo thing now. So going down once a year with to Tokyo and doing kind of very. I love Anthony Bourdain. So kind of like that.
Rest up, Anthony.
Yeah. So that style, but just kind of more really short to keep it to the.
So you're doing like a live video blog while you're smashing sushi in your mouth.
No. It's called Khaled Iwamura's Top 5s in Tokyo. So I went to six neighborhoods in Japan. Tokyo, and I found top 5s in each one of them.
Okay.
Right. So I came back, edited them, and throughout the summer.
Do you speak Japanese?
Yes, I do. A little bit. I speak enough bar Japanese. Like I go into the bars, I can speak to anybody.
Sure.
Any formal meetings with the government and stuff like that, it's a totally different language.
Okay.
So so the most important Japanese, the bar Japanese, I could totally understand that and talk.
Cool.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit before we go out. You seems like you're on a lot of board of directors, man. The Living Arts Center, Legends Row, Japan Festival Canada.
Yeah. What's
Living Arts Center like? What do you do with those guys?
Living Arts Center is the kind of the entertainment theater of Mississauga. It's located like right behind City Hall.
So like performance art.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So they have kind of I wouldn't say A-list, but I mean, do you remember The Cult?
Sure.
Yeah, so the Cult played last
Sure.
year, and a lot of cover bands and and stuff like that. I'm trying to change it up as the youngest board member, I believe, and trying to get a younger audience in there.
Okay.
One thing that they were lacking is ever since they started, it was always to an older audience, so
Sure.
they completely.
So no hip hop or anything like that going down to the Living Arts Center.
No, and that's what I'm trying to change. Just trying to get a younger audience in there.
Problem with young audiences, they don't have any money.
That's not true.
No?
Because if you look at the ACC and look at, you get Bruno Mars in, right?
Okay.
He sells out shows at $300 a pop, right? And then he sells out 2 shows. Like, so if the
20,000 times 300, I mean, that's some serious scratch.
So if the artist is big enough, they'll pay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that they don't have money; it's that their money, they're tighter with their money.
How many seats in the Living Arts Center?
I'd say about 2,500, 3,000.
So then you could do some like more intimate events.
It'd be a Massey Hall style.
Yeah, sure.
So, but so that's so I just in the board just trying to kind of pump up.
Is that a paid position?
No.
Volunteering.
It's all volunteering. All these boards,
for the community.
Yeah. So, but good bunch of guys.
What's Legends Row?
Legends Row is the Mississauga Walk of Fame.
Okay.
So yeah. So
are you on it yet?
I'm not. No. I know. It's a lot of older people, which makes sense because they've done a lot. But at the City Hall, there's like a hallway there, and they have we induct kind of legends or
throw some at me.
Well, last year or 2 years ago, Strombo.
Okay. I didn't know he was a Mississauga boy.
Malton. He never says he's from Mississauga. He just says Malton. And then if you say Mississauga, he's like, no, I'm from Malton.
Okay, tough guy.
So, yeah, exactly. So, Billy Talent.
Okay.
Yeah, those guys. I believe Don Cherry. Right, Don Cherry.
Think he lives in Mississauga.
He lives in Mississauga.
Sure.
So I don't know what the actual criteria is. I don't think you have to be born there.
Mm.
Who else has been there? A lot of Hazel McCallion last year.
For sure.
I mean, she's the biggest legend of Mississauga. Who else? The guy from not Donald Trump. Triumph. Triumph. I forgot his name. He's gonna kill me.
What kind of representative are you?
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Man? Come on.
So, but
cool.
so it's Mississauga Walk of Fame.
Mississauga Walk of Fame at City Hall.
Yeah. So
cool. So is Mississauga going in the right direction right now? It's going good.
Yeah, it definitely is going in the right direction, but there's a lot of growing pains that's going to happen over the next 10, 15 years.
And transportation and stuff like that?
Well, we got the LRT going in,
right?
So literally, it hasn't started yet. So, I mean, it's going up kind of Highway 10.
That's your Ontario's.
Yeah, Highway 10, around Square One to Brampton.
Everything's so far apart in Mississauga, though.
It is. You have to have a car.
Yeah, there's no walk score there at all.
Yeah, it's like outside of maybe Port Credit, maybe Streetsville. There's really
I thought Streetsville was Brampton, though, isn't it?
No, it's Mississauga.
Mississauga
Yeah,
too,
it's
yeah.
Mississauga. So, but there'll be growing pains because Mississauga's come to the point now that we are getting older, so we have to fix our infrastructure and stuff like that. So it's so around Square One, there's tons of construction, and then the LRT's going in. So you're going to be Mississauga's going to be under construction for the next probably 10, 15 years.
So when's the mayoral run going to come out?
October 22nd is.
No, when are you going to start running for?
Absolutely 0% on that one. I would rather just run a media company and write about the politics than write about me running for politics.
You know what? You know what? It's like people think that being an entrepreneur and being a politician, they're completely different things, dude.
Yeah. It's not even. It's totally different.
Totally different, dude.
So it's like if you're a politician, you're pretty much opening your life up to everybody.
Sure.
Right. And to be honest, I love swearing too much.
You didn't drop a swear word on this show.
I think I did one or twice.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's okay.
But I mean, the thing is, I just like being myself too much. And to be honest,
you've earned it, man.
Yeah. As a politician.
Yeah, you got to go back to. You got to you got to be a different person.
You have to be.
Where do you?
Nice to
do you mind if I ask you where your politics are? Are you center left, center right? I know you're center-ish.
I'll be honest. I don't care.
You don't care.
I'm.
What do you want to see then?
I just want to see people go out there and vote.
I agree with you on that 100%.
That's all that matters to me. I don't care if you're, Doug supporter, past Win supporter, Donald Trump supporter. Like, I don't care. I mean, it's politics, right? I mean, it just go out there and vote, and I won't judge you.
I think voting's super important, man. I wish, especially for young people don't vote a lot.
They don't. I mean, I was looking at what is it? I think for the municipal elections, it's
the worst at the municipal level too.
And it's like less than 40%.
So we have a employment company we use. Like if our warehouse guy's sick, we'll call them and they can send us someone right away.
Yeah.
So the guy comes in and good kid from Pickering, whatever, right? And the U.S. election was on, and I'm in the back, and he's like, "Are you the owner?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the owner, right?" He's like, "What do you think of Donald Trump?" And I said to him, do you know who your local counselor is?
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
Yeah.
That?
Yeah, but that's all they see on the news.
I
That's
know.
That's why.
And they have no idea. Like if the most impact to your life is local politics.
Yeah.
When the garbage gets collected, how the streets get cleaned, new roads, all the money spent in your community. That's all local politics, man.
But here's one thing that I would do. If I ever became a politician, I would create term limits on all these counselors, because
how long they can be counselors for.
Yes, because these incumbents, you can literally kill somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And still get voted in just because of name.
Sure.
If you have a big family, you're voted in.
Sure.
If you have a lot of friends, you're voted in. So it's like some of these counselors in Mississauga have been counselors for like 35 years.
Yeah,
uncontested.
Yeah, municipal politics. There's something. I mean, there's a battle going on in Toronto right now.
What do you think of that?
I think less politicians is good.
Okay, I agree with you, but do you agree with how Doug Ford kind of laid it?
You know what? Here's the thing.
Sorry to ask you the question.
No. I mean, that's okay, man. I'm here. Okay, so the problem is that he's actually portraying himself in the way that everyone wants him to portray himself, as a bully, a pushy person that doesn't ask anybody any questions and just goes ahead and does something. What I would say is that he's had a lot of experience on City Hall.
Yeah.
Okay, so he knows what it's like down there. I've been down there, and it's a zoo, dude. It's crazy. Now, in terms of whether or not the communities are going to be represented properly, I can't comment on that. I have no idea about that. But in terms of, there is a Supreme Court ruling that says that voters have to be as equitably represented as possible. He is matching as far as I've seen, he's matching the existing. What I think, here's what I think.
Okay.
Forget about that particular move, which I'm always in favor of less politicians. I think that the less we have, the better.
Agree.
Okay.
Yep.
The other thing, because there's too many places to hide in Toronto Council right now. The other thing is, I think local politicians should have to declare an affiliation with a federal or provincial party.
Okay.
So they should have to say that I'm a member of the NDP party, or there should be some sort of party level politics at the municipal level.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people, they're voting blue, red, or green. Or what's the NDP color? Green? I think it's green, right?
Yeah.
So it's blue, conservative, red, or green.
Orange.
Orange, right. Blue, red, or orange, right?
Yeah.
And that's how they're voting. And when they get to that box, so you get your vote out and you're voted for this, and you got your counselor, you got your local Catholic trustee, or whatever it is. And you're looking at this, you have no idea what these people stand for. And I think InSauga could help people. Do you guys do a lot of like individual local stuff when you're putting out your thing?
Yeah. So we try to do as much to get voter turnout out higher. So we
do you interview each one of the candidates or something like that?
Well, we don't interview each one. The funny thing is, the last mayoral election in 2014, I actually I was part of Rogers TV, and Rogers TV's mandate is that I can't just interview one. I have to interview them all.
Sure.
So I said okay, which is a stupid move on my part, because it was like 24.
Oh yeah,
right?
That's the other thing, is they have to have some sort of runoff.
Yeah. And
like the municipal politics, it's like $200 to throw your hat in the ring, and hopefully you get lucky.
Yeah, and it was it's one of those things, you're talking to them and you're trying to keep a straight face. One guy went to build a suspension bridge or a train from Mississauga to Manitoulin Island, and he was serious, and he had like a mock-up of those Tonka toy cars or Hot Wheels cars and stuff like that, and he brought it in, and he was legit, he was serious, right? So So you get a couple of whack jobs,
Sure.
right? But then you get the real contenders, kind of like the
People that might have a vision.
Yes, you kind of know who's going to win,
Sure.
right? I mean, because it's the people that have a little bit of political background, that has been a counselor and stuff like that. So, like you said, if you have $200, they just go in there and anybody can go. This time around, I believe there's only 8 or 9 in Mississauga. Probably about the same amount in Brampton. I'm not too sure about Halton. Halton's 3 regions, so I don't know about Halton too much. But so it'll be interesting. So
just to finish that up, though, my thought on the reducing of council size and the impacts, again, communities aside, I think equitizing the voter so that a vote in Etobicoke North is the same as a vote on Trinity St. Paul's or whatever the actual territories are.
Yeah.
And then the final thing is that I would say with municipal politics is that they should declare their affiliation with a political party. I think that would be very helpful for people.
You think like on the actual ballot it should actually...
Yeah, like it says conservative, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like when you're voting provincial, it says, the guy in Durham, I know who it is, but I can't remember. He has got some weird last name. It just changed over. Anyway, it's a conservative, liberal, NDP. I think it said right on the ballot.
Okay.
And I think they should have that because people have, honestly, it's hard enough to get people engaged in political and local politics. To blur the lines like that is very dangerous for democracy. I think that as much association with current Canadian party brands is good for people. And I'm not saying that I want, an NDP to win or Liberals to win or anything like that. This is apolitical in terms of outcome. But to me, I think people need help. They need guidance. They need better local news. InSauga is great. You know what I mean? But when it comes to like their local trustees, those trustees are so important for schools, man.
Yeah.
It's so important. And people don't know anything about who the trustee is.
Yeah.
It's really crazy, dude. And they have $1 million budgets, man.
Yeah. If you're in your 20s, you just, and it's unfortunate, you just don't care. The last provincial election. Voter turnout was fairly low, right? And I was talking to my buddies. I go to the gym in Mississauga, and guys in their 20s, right? And I'm like, so who'd you vote for? Oh, there's an election.
Yeah.
And I'm serious. Like that's they don't know. They're like, I have to drive there, man.
That's a media problem right there.
But the things we're trying to, so for every election, we tell everybody here's who they are, and we'll have, had Patrick Brown last week, on my show. I'll have Linda Jeffries. I'll do as much as I can to get people to vote.
I didn't say it was an InSauga problem.
Okay.
you know what I mean?
It might be a problem for us, but I mean, we're really trying.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, I'll tell you this, young people certainly like to complain about politics.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. You go on social, that's all they're doing, right?
Yeah.
But I'd like to know, it's like, for everyone that complained, I'd like to know if they voted.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Yeah, it's like, if you didn't vote, dude, what are you complaining about?
Yeah, for sure. Even go destroy your ballot. Even go put a big X in the whole thing. That's, whatever it is, you got to get out. And you know what the interesting thing about this, I've said this before, if you believe in equality, okay, so whatever equality means to whoever out there, it's different things. But I'll tell you this, it is most manifest on that day when we all get 1X.
Yeah. That
is when we're all as equal as we're ever going to get in Canada. And if the fact that you choose not to participate in that is very, very damning for the future. The more participation, the higher our voter rates are, the better our country is going to be.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. My brother-in-law's from Egypt, and they're just in the last 10 years they can vote, right? Yeah, for the first time ever, right?
Yes.
In his generation, right? So he's now a new Canadian citizen, right? And he got to vote for the first time.
Wow,
right? And he realized, he's like, who doesn't vote here? Like, he asked me, it's like, who doesn't vote here? And I'm like, 50%. I'm like, 50% of the population, more than 50. And he's like, why? People are dying to vote
for sure.
And this is another reason to travel a little more, and just kind of broaden your, if you saw what they tried to do to vote in the Middle East or anywhere,
especially going to somewhere that's a little bit troubled.
Yes. All you have to do is travel just a tiny bit to,
I remember when I was in third-year university, I went on exchange, and I went to Belfast, Northern Ireland, which at that time, it was right after. You remember the Oma bomb?
Yeah.
It was like the last big explosion there, and there's a picture before on the front of the Toronto Sun of right, like 15 seconds before it went off, and there's a pregnant woman in the picture.
Yep.
I worked with a guy at a bar that was his sister.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was I think that was 98, 98, and I got there in 98 to start the school year. And I remember, going and working in this bar, and I worked in a mixed bar. So that meant Catholics and Protestants both went to this bar. And there's bars that were just Catholic and bars that were just Protestant. But you would hear people talk about, you see two white people, one's Catholic, one's Protestant, and then as soon as they get a group of Protestants, they're making fun of Catholics. And I just thought to myself, like, nobody cares about this in Toronto, dude.
Yeah.
This and that, and this happened, and 100 years ago this happened, and you know what I mean, in 1787 this happened, and it's like, you got to get out of Belfast, man.
Yeah, true.
Like, I just looking at the guy like he's telling me this. It's like, you got to get out of Belfast.
Yeah,
man. Go somewhere. And I remember this one guy asked me, "Are you British Canadian or French Canadian?" I'm like, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? There's no British Canadian, dude.
Yeah.
It's like that people get their minds stuck in a place. Luckily, in a place like Canada, it's kind of an aloof, don't care because everything's so great attitude. But I wish we could change that and get people more engaged. It would be great.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. We'll go back to it's the best country in the world. We're lucky.
Yeah.
Let's just go out there and vote. You have the right to. People are dying to. So
yeah, I think that's why a lot of organized immigrant groups do very well in certain areas.
Yep.
Like you see, Brampton has Jagmeet Singh and the other guy that's
his brother.
His brother's the head of the NDP. I think, or it's the other way around.
That's the other way around.
Yeah. And they've become very successful because their communities get behind them and they appreciate what they got and they exercise their right. And all the power to him because, that's how how things go. But
he can be the next prime minister.
You know what? I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
The way it's going now, he might be. So
I mean, Andrew Scheer is an interesting candidate. I think it's Andrew Scheer. It's Scheer anyway.
Okay.
Andrew Scheer is the leader of the Progressive Conservative Party, but or the Conservative Party. He's interesting, but he's kind of boring. He's gonna have a hard time against Mr. Suave.
Yeah, it's all based on personality now.
It is unfortunately degenerated to a bit of a reality TV show.
Yeah, I mean, as much as Trudeau's fine, he's an actor. He's a poser, right? We all know that.
Yeah, I mean, there's an element of there's an element of Hollywood to him for sure.
100%. I mean, his last name got him in.
Yeah, he's a princeling.
Yeah,
for sure. He's a princeling for sure. He's
Drama,
about as close to Canadian royalty as we have.
Drama teacher.
Yeah, come on,
boxer.
Can you? But that boxing thing against Brezo or whatever his name was.
Yeah,
that was a bit of a stunt. You'd do it though.
Totally would. Yeah, I've taken up boxing now. So, but yeah,
you'd do it for sure. We're on to politics here, but you know what's interesting is that when you think about, I think Canada's been largely well governed since I've been aware of politics.
Agreed.
So you go Brian Mulroney to Jean Chrétien. I thought Jean Chrétien and Paul Martin were an excellent tandem. You went conservative, liberal, and I think you go to Harper, and I think Harper did a good job of Flaherty, and they're kind of laid low.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people were dying for Canada to step onto the world stage, and I think that's what Trudeau is about.
Trudeau is definitely a rock star. I mean, you go to Japan, right, and he gets girls scream at him. You know what I mean? Like that's never happened for Harper.
No. Harper always gave me the feeling like if I took the top of his head off, I'd find a computer inside.
Do you think Harper's going to come back? Because I mean, right now he's getting the spotlight a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. So I have a feeling he might actually become the leader again. I mean, I don't know. It's
what's happening is that the problem is that Andrew Scheer has some momentum in the Conservative Party in Canada right now. But if you think about, I think to Trudeau, and then I'll comment on Harper 1 second.
Yeah.
I think with Trudeau, what he did is he's going to turn heads in Washington and in Beijing and in Tokyo, which is something that Andrew Scheer and Stephen Harper and even Jean Chrétien couldn't do it.
Yeah.
None of these guys had any sort of power of personality to them. But Harper has a comeback. Look, I thought Harper was a fantastic politician for Canada. I think he governed under two minority governments.
Yeah.
And the financial crisis was largely averted in Canada because of him and Flaherty. And I think Trudeau's spending the money they saved in some ways.
True. He looked like an agent too from The Matrix.
Harper.
Yeah. Yeah,
like I said, if you took his head off, there'd be a computer in there.
Yeah.
But I think on liberal and conservative in the last, so long as I've been alive, I think Canada's been very well governed.
Agreed.
And I think the province of Ontario hasn't. So that's my...
Yeah, I think Toronto itself has not.
Yes.
if you want to get into the whole Toronto thing with it's always been a kind of a 4 or 8 year thing, right?
Sure.
With mayors, right? And I think it takes a generation to do something,
Sure.
right? You know,
you need to get momentum.
Yeah, you need to get momentum. Like I think Chicago might be a good or bad example, but Chicago's waterfront, you know, is gorgeous, stunning. You know, you can bike.
Chicago's a more beautiful city than Toronto.
It is. I mean, they've obviously have their problems, right? But
in terms of fiscally, they're bankrupt. But
yeah, but I mean,
architecture is gorgeous.
Gorgeous, right? It's because, and then I kind of delved into how this happened, right? You know, because you know we're talking about Toronto waterfront for 100 years, and
Sure.
it's ugly, right?
Portlands and all that stuff
just
out there.
nothing's happening. And it was dad's son combo mayor that took the city for 40 years.
Yes,
right?
in Chicago, yeah.
In Chicago, right? So and that's how it happens. You can't do it, you know, Miller 4 years or 8 years, whatever it was, and Lastman for 4 to 8 years.
The problem is there's no executive authority, right?
Yeah.
So the mayor can't really do much anyway.
Yeah.
He's really a deciding vote if council goes one way or the other.
And I think that's what has to change. And
You want executive power in the mayorship?
No, I'm talking about just kind of every city, like for transportation,
Yeah.
right? It shouldn't be up to the city. I mean, the city knows shit about.
Oh, you need a province-wide transportation strategy.
Exactly,
for sure.
right? So, and right now, I mean, for 100 years, it's always been city.
Sure.
The city, they're like, hey, can you start a transportation thing? Sure, we'll give you money. They don't know anything about transportation,
Well,
right?
TTC used to make money.
Yeah, well,
Back in the old days, they were making money on the TTC.
Oh,
It was
really?
a revenue generator when it started. Oh
okay,
yeah.
well, So, but the thing, so I'll go to, I always
Yeah.
go back to Tokyo,
Sure.
right? Tokyo, and people scream once I say this, but all the lines in Tokyo are privately owned, right?
How dare you?
I know, but the thing is, if it's privately owned, they know what they're doing.
It's 407 is privately owned.
Yeah. So, and it's, I think they're doing okay. 407.
It's the best highway in Ontario, that's for sure.
So,
and it's the safest highway too, I believe.
Yeah. So, I mean, in Japan, you know, I believe, 3 out of 4 lines there are owned privately.
I think public-private partnerships are it's interesting you talked about, it takes time. Rahm Emanuel's been working his butt off, and I'm not a big Rahm Emanuel fan as when he was in the White House, but as a mayor of Chicago, that guy's been doing a lot. I actually follow municipal politics. I'm a weirdo that way. But I find stuff like that interesting.
Yeah.
But he's really struggling with a lot of things in Chicago, and it's tough to turn, like when a flywheel's, this is what you're saying about Canada being so good, when the flywheel's going, it takes a lot to stop it.
Yeah.
But it sure as hell takes a lot to start it too.
No, you're right.
And if it's going in the wrong direction, you can have a hard time. Like transportation in Toronto the flywheel was going great until they got to Finch and stopped building subways.
Yep.
And then to get that flywheel going again is very, very difficult for cities.
Yeah. Agreed.
But I mean, take a Mississauga. Mississauga is probably bigger than Halifax with 700,000.
Oh, it's way bigger.
No, bigger than Nova Scotia. I mean.
Yeah, it's hovering towards Ottawa's numbers now.
Wow.
Right. So I mean, it'll peak out after 1 million, but I mean, we don't have a subway.
There isn't a million people in Nova Scotia.
Okay, so I mean, like,
think about that.
Yeah.
Mississauga Brampton is probably bigger than Nova Scotia, PEI, and New Brunswick.
Yep. It is.
Population-wise, yeah.
Yeah. So and to think of the archaic kind of transportation system we have, kind of Google. I always pull out Google Maps in Tokyo, right? And to get to an equivalent to here to Ottawa, from kind of like Mississauga to Ottawa, it would take me by bus or by train close to about 7 hours.
It'd be about 4.5 hours by train.
Well,
via rail, if you got.
Well, I'm talking door to door.
Okay, yeah,
door to door.
Sure.
I'm talking like I leave my door.
Okay, fine,
right?
Yeah, got it.
So in Tokyo, right, literally, there's literally a train station or a subway station within 2 to 5 minutes of where you live, everywhere in Tokyo.
So I've been to Shanghai.
Yeah.
I've been to Shenzhen.
Yeah.
And I've been on their super fast trains and all that sort of stuff. And I think a lot of people forget when they talk about Asian infrastructure projects. So Tokyo's what, 16 million people? How many people in Tokyo? It's got to be over 10 million.
It's 36 million.
That's
So it's the biggest
Canada.
city. Yeah, that is Canada. So we're talking how we call it the GTA.
Yeah, Greater Tokyo area.
Yeah, so that's 36 million people.
So that's a much bigger tax base in order to do this infrastructure.
Agreed. The only thing is, though, it's done over. The reasons why subways and big, huge infrastructure projects don't get done is because of politicians that only care about the 4-year vote. Right? It's like if you say I'm going to have a subway now, you're going to be dead by the time it
12
comes,
years
right?
from now it'll be
so
there. Yeah.
it doesn't do anything for you now, right? So it's so the whole subway, the transportation thing has to be taken off the government mandate. It has to be governed by its own body, because they can see kind of 30, 40 years into the future, where politicians just see 4 years into the future.
Pickering Airport's a perfect example of that.
Okay.
So I live in Uxbridge Township, but very close to Stouffville, so right on York-Durham line and close to Pickering-Uxbridge Town line. The airport lands are like 5 kilometers from where I am, and it's a huge swathe of land.
Yeah.
Okay. And they've owned it for 40 years. Okay, but the local politicians prevent the building of that airport.
Yeah.
So and
politicians should not be allowed to touch transportation.
Ooh, that's a controversial statement.
It is, because but the thing is, transportation is based on, it's all political. It has nothing to do with actually moving people.
I'll give you an example. If they wanted the GO train to go to Uxbridge, the train would go right past my backyard. Okay. So there's a train, you can see it from the 404. It's the York-Durham line, 100-year-old train. They ride it back and forth. They do Thomas the tank engine or whatever. Or they do like a Halloween train. It's hilarious. People go right by my house. It's about, I live on a farm. Okay. So, and it goes right by my house. If they wanted to put GO trains in there, I'd be like, whoa, hey, what's going on? What happened to Goodwood? Goodwood's supposed to be small, man.
But it's just, but here's another thing with Mississauga.
But they already own the land. It's their land. Okay. They could do it if they want to.
Yeah.
It's expropriated. Like, they own that land. It's their train tracks.
It's just, I'm always, I don't want to sound like Doug Ford, but I'm all about subways. It's one of those things that subways last, 60 to 100 years.
Sure, sure.
We're not talking LRT or, like the stupid streetcar that we have downtown.
LRT's a bad idea where it snows and ice and rains and freezes.
The thing in Mississauga that nobody's talking about, and this has turned into a political show now, eh?
Okay. We're just chatting away, man.
It's going the wrong way in Mississauga. It's going north-south, where most people travel east-west, right? So, but the thing is, if you say that, you don't like the LRT, right? You all of a sudden don't like transportation. You know what I mean? Like couple people.
You're not environmentally friendly.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, you're part of the problem.
Yes.
Right.
You need to get out of your car, son.
But the truth is, it's like, I can't remember the last time somebody said, I'm heading to Brampton today. They're heading to Toronto. They're heading to Islington. They're heading to Kipling to get onto the subway.
It's coming in.
Yeah. So it's like, the traffic obviously does go to Brampton and south, but most of the traffic goes east-west.
That's
right?
Interesting. Yeah.
I'm like, so why not?
Yeah. If you want to go to the Raptors game, why not hop on a train at Square One Mall and head over?
Yeah. And that's the problem, though. You have the TTC, you got the Mississauga Transit, you got all these gangs, right?
Gangs.
No, that's what it is. It's
land.
like, it's all about money now, right? So it's like I have to keep this money. Yeah. How are we gonna split the money between
carve it up?
Yeah, it's like, so that's why you need to get rid of this whole TTC. It'll never happen, because can you imagine somebody saying, get rid of the TTC, get rid of Mississauga Transit, sell it? You know how much of there'll be mushroom clouds at Queen's Park and stuff.
Yeah, you're gonna sell the TTC. Well, I mean, that wrecked the Ontario Progressive Conservative Party for a generation, selling the 407.
Yeah.
Like selling the 407 is the reason why they've been in the political wasteland for so long.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I can't become a politician, because I tell the truth.
Yeah, well, that's the hard part, right?
Be like, let's cancel the LRT. They'll be like, no, we can't do that, Khaled. But
yeah. What's funny about you get into local issues like this, and Toronto's still acting like it's a small town. Yeah, or this area is still acting like they're small. When it comes to transportation, people are still thinking like they're small time players. When Toronto's really an international big time city.
I was reading articles and it said that Toronto has the worst transportation system in a major modern city. So maybe. That in New York.
I'll tell you this about subways. I'm a big subway guy too. You know what's interesting? Wealthy people don't ride buses. No matter how many there are, how good they are, they don't ride buses. Yeah. And now you start to get the streetcars, you get a little bit more. Everybody rides a subway. If the subway's convenient and good, people will get on it.
It's common sense. It's if you can actually get to the place faster using public transit, you'll use it.
And you're underground.
Yeah.
You're not standing at a bus stop with snow and rain and sleet. You're underground.
Yeah.
You can hop on a train, grab a bite to eat. It's way better.
Yeah, or if you can't afford a car. Those are the only two ways more people ride transit.
Sure.
That's so.
So you're going to make cars more expensive now? Is that your?
Well, I think that is already the case with gas prices and all that fun stuff. But yeah, like I keep on going back to Japan, but in Japan, like you got like the executives of Toyota riding the train. You know what I mean? Because
trains are equalizers, man. Everyone will ride the train.
Yeah, it's like because they can get there way faster.
Yeah, you get guys in suits on the train going down to their jobs on Bay Street on the subway. You get it doesn't matter. Everyone rides the subway.
In Japan, 350 kilometers an hour. That's how fast it goes.
I was on a train I went from Shanghai to Ningbo.
Yeah.
And that's like the equivalent of, I don't know, let's say Toronto to Montreal. And we were there in like 45 minutes.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
The speed of the train up there, it's like 350 kilometers an hour.
That's crazy.
And I was actually standing, what's that movie? Oh, man, the Hunger Games. Okay, so you know how you see the train going so fast down the tracks?
Yeah.
So I was standing on the tracks and in Shanghai when where was it? It was open in the middle of the field. And one of the trains came at us at full speed. Holy mackerel!
It's like
dude.
a bullet sound, eh? It's yeah. So
like imagine a TTC train going past you at 350 kilometers an hour. It's nuts, dude.
It's crazy.
See that?
So I'm a train geek.
Okay.
Just I'll throw it out.
Let it rip.
So in Japan, they're creating a new system that is maglev.
Okay.
Magnetic.
I thought that's what the Scarborough LRT was, wasn't it? Wasn't that what it was?
Yeah, but that's like I think Montreal Expo 67 technology.
Yeah, but it was
right?
the same.
Yeah,
it was magnetic levitation, though, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yeah. So in Japan, they're creating a maglev system from Tokyo to a city named Nagoya.
Okay.
It's expected to go 650 kilometers to 700 kilometers an hour.
That's faster than the speed of sound.
Isn't it? Yeah. So I don't know, but the thing is, we're talking about an equivalent to like Montreal or Toronto. It would literally be about 25 minutes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So and that train is going to be operational in 2027.
And you know what's weird about that? A lot of that stuff's made by Bombardier.
Not this one.
Not that. Okay, not that
this one.
But a lot of the high-speed trains in Europe
are
made by Bombardier, which is in Quebec.
That's true. So
it's some of the technology. I don't know if all of it or whatever. Sorry, hey, I'm not. But I know that they make some serious train technology in Quebec, and it's like we don't use it here though. Oh, we gotta wrap it up.
Okay, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, no, we just got rolling. That was 2 hours, man. Over 2 hours.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's almost 1 o'clock, dude.
Oh my goodness. Okay, cool.
Welcome to the time warp.
Yeah, that is awesome.
That was fun as heck, man.
Cool. That was
Thanks
awesome.
for coming on.
All right, man.
Yeah. GetAGripStudios.com. What are you talking about, man? We're talking about Get a Grip Studios. What does that do? Well, hey, man, are you a social media influencer? Do you want to be that? Do you want to get your message of your brand or your business out there in a new, unique, exciting format? Yeah, you can try to do it all yourself. Sure, go for it. I wish you all the best. Took me 2.5 years to get to this point. So check us out, GetAGripStudios.com. Price points as low as $200 to start off a podcast. Up to the gold level, which is what I recommend, man. If you've got a serious message that you think you can monetize, why waste your time trying to figure out all the technical side of it, man? We got that. All you focus on is your guests, your message. That's it. The rest is taken care of by Get a Grip Studio. So go on down. Come down and see us, 3800 Victoria Park Avenue. And GetAGripStudios.com. I'd like to thank Khaled Iwamura, the founder of InSauga in Brampton, in Halton. Online news, quick, fast, sudden, the way you want it. Yeah, I mean, this guy's he's got so many things going on. He's such an interesting guy. I mean, he's smart, first of all, very intelligent. He is so thank you, Khaled. You're super interesting to talk to. He's got opinions on all sorts of stuff. He's a semi-pro wrestler. It's crazy, and everything else. So Khaled, thanks for coming on the show. I'm sure you heard all that by listening. So hey, getagriponlife.com. Thanks for listening. Subscribe, Twitter, all that sort of stuff. We got it all.